Hello folks, it is Paul here once again with another video for you. This one is an update to an earlier article I had done on the different kinds of stems that are available in the market right now when it comes to hookahs. The first one that we're going to go over is the one that everyone is pretty much familiar with. This is an Egyptian style hookah. Egyptian hookahs tend to be a central pipe running down the entire length of the hookah, surrounded by turned metal, actually. Metal spinning is the technique that is often used when it comes to making things like teapots, kettles, and musical instruments. This is a Khalil Mamoun, which is one of the more common brands of Egyptian hookah that you're going to find. There are a lot of different variations, but they all, like everything that is often referred to as an Egyptian style, is this kind of hookah, with the accents on the outside that are purely aesthetic. The smoke never touches this. It's all the inner stem, which can be either stainless steel, brass, copper, etc. Now, moving on from this is what's often known as the Syrian style. A Syrian style hookah is this. This is actually another Egyptian hookah, but it is a Syrian style because it is cast metal from pretty much top to bottom. The casting stops right here, and then it's more spun metal. And inside of that is another stem. It is a solid straight pipe, which I can't really get the angle to show you that, but then around that is the cast metal. Now, the reason that these are called Syrian is because at one point, the only hookahs that you really found coming out of Syria were solid cast brass, top to bottom. No inner stem, no nothing, just solid brass. Now, as the price of brass increased, you saw more pipes like this coming out, or like this. Yes, this is a pile of parts, this is a pile of pieces, but I wanted to show you what a true Syrian pipe nowadays actually looks like. I have been disassembling my Nur Karakol, my old school Naras, to show you exactly what this is. Now this is solid cast brass. This is not spun on a lathe, but if you can see inside, let's see, it's going to be hard to see, but the walls are only maybe an 1/8 of an inch thick. In a piece like this, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see. It's much thicker at an accent like this. This is a heavy piece of brass, and this is the main actual center of the stem. But inside all of this is a piece of brass. It's a down stem. I'm actually replacing this one right now, which is why this is such a nice shiny piece in here. I can show you a part of the original. This is your center stem. This is the actual down stem of the pipe. Now, the popularity of Syrian hookahs led other companies like Magdi Zadan and many other Egyptian companies to produce Syrian-style hookahs. Now, beyond these two main categories of hookah, there are a few other outliers that you might find every once in a while. The most classic of hookahs is usually made from wood, actually. The down stem, the inner stem, and everything, all the ports are all usually wood. This is supposedly to allow the hookah itself to absorb some flavor from the smoke, very similar to an unglazed bowl. In theory, they also are supposed to absorb a bit of nicotine, which should mellow out the smoke, but I haven't seen any substantial changes when smoking from a wooden hookah, so I really can't comment on the validity of those claims. Those you're pretty much never going to find outside of the Middle East. A somewhat updated version of that is known as the Regal Hookah. The Regal is an American company, or an American-produced hookah that uses reclaimed hardwood from things like old barns, railway ties, and bridges, and produces an absolutely beautiful hookah that consists of a stainless steel downstem and center stem, surrounded by the turned wood that has been reclaimed, and then abutted on each end with anodized aircraft-grade aluminum. They are absolutely beautiful, but sadly they're very hard to find nowadays as they're not produced in high quantities, and they're often only made in custom orders. Speaking of very modern style hookahs, one style that is getting a lot of popularity as of late is the glass hookah. Glass hookahs are produced most commonly by companies like Lavu, ROI, or Roy, which translates to king, don't worry about that, and one of the most well-known companies producing glass hookah items at this point, Crown Hookahs. There is another company coming up on the horizon that pre-orders are open for right now called Project One, and we'll wait to see how good those are. But you're going to see more and more glass hookahs coming up because they are very cleanable, very aesthetically pleasing, and actually, so long as they're using borosilicate, they're using lab-grade glass, they're surprisingly durable. I wouldn't hit a baseball with them or anything, but you really don't have to worry about them in the same way that you would an old antique thin glass vase. These things are thick and beautiful pieces of glass. Lastly, we have Chinese hookahs. Chinese hookahs are less of a style and just more of a category. They're usually knockoffs of Egyptian or Syrian styles. The one standalone company that is often considered to be an actually worthwhile brand of hookahs is Maya Saray. Maya Saray uses an almost old Egyptian style in that the bodies of most of their hookahs are cast brass, which has been plated. Very, very solid stuff. Really, Maya Saray is actually a good brand of hookahs. They're just not given a lot of credibility because they are Chinese and they're not a very traditional hookah. They're very, very modern, but they are good quality. That covers most of the bases when it comes to the major categories of hookahs. There are a lot of random outliers out there. Like I've even seen ceramic hookahs, and there are lots of people who are making homemade hookahs out of various materials, even including solid wood vases and things like that. But if you're looking for a specific style, knowing the main categories will really help you to determine what you're going to buy. Remember, there's Egyptian style, which is spun metal over an inner tube. There is Syrian style, which is usually cast brass. And then there are all of the random outliers, including glass, Chinese, etc. So that's it. This is Paul for Hookah.org, hopefully informing you a little bit about the different styles of hookah that are out there and your different options. And I hope you give us that courtesy of a thumbs up below, a like, and a subscribe. Please go to the forums. Check those out because that's the only place you're going to get the information you need about our monthly contests. And we've got new content going up all the time that is definitely worth a look. So once again, this is Paul for Hookah.org saying happy smoking.